This is it. It's on. The stretch run for the 2023 season for the Kansas City Chiefs has begun. Well, at least it should very shortly. Everybody should be coming back to Kansas City. Where do they go from here? On a weekend that saw a lot of ho-hum football, to tell you the truth. Having the Chiefs not playing, I think the NFL kind of misses it. I certainly do. We hope you do too. Welcome to RGR Football. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Click the like and the sub if you would right now, especially as you're joining us live. We're doing an early live stream tonight, so we can spend a little time with our families, but still get you caught up on where the Chiefs are. I'd love to tell you that there's a ton of information out there, but we'll get to the stratosphere, the blogosphere, and everything else that's going on tracking. But lackluster football today without the Chiefs on the scoreboard. Chargers are losing to the Lions right now, much as we discussed. Where are you at? Like, just the weekends without them on the field just seem like the NFL is not at its best.
I actually kind of disagree. The Ravens game came down to the wire and they ended up losing. That was a fantastic game near the end. The Bengals game with the Texans was awesome. I'm enjoying the Lions and Chargers right now. The Chargers are driving to tie up the game right now. It's not bad football. It's just, it's Chiefs-less football, and that's not what I'm about. Like, I like watching these close games, but I always would love it if the Chiefs play today. But other than that, I think they've had some very entertaining football games.
Okay, well, clearly it's about the slate, because I wasn't on the package today. I wasn't watching YouTube. It was whatever I got broadcast. So I got the 34-3 blowout of the Jacksonville Jaguars by the 49ers. Then I got to see the Buccaneers rally and just kind of pick apart the Titans 20-6. And now what's on my television for some strange reason, given the fact that I live west of the Mississippi, is the Cowboys snuffing out the Giants hopes 28-0 at half. So
that's probably why.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I watched the good games today. I mean, even the Minnesota Vikings and the Saints game came down to Jameis Winston just throwing it 50 yards down the field every time he got the football. But it was still an 8-point game at the end, and it was kind of entertaining. But I mean, it wasn't that bad. You got the worst possible lineup for football today. I'm watching much better football on my TV.
I gotta tell you, it was a day I just walked away. I got some stuff done in the garage. I did things around the house because it was just,
there you go.
It was terrible. Hey, Justin, I am here all day long. Thanks, buddy. Nice to see you. You guys, we're going to answer your questions a little bit tonight, but we're just kind of going to go over the state of the Kansas City Chiefs. If you would like to get more out of this show, be here tomorrow at 7 Central. And we'll go through the Q&A show. That's the one where you drive and you provide the questions. Today, just want to take away some observations. When you take a look at it from our preseason predictions, I feel like we're in pretty good shape. We're on track for where I thought we were going to be. I think actually ahead of me a little bit, in that this hasn't been, despite all the offensive misfunction, as terrible a season as we had maybe been preparing for. In terms of wins and losses, 7-2 here, sole possession of first place in the AFC. There's not a ton to complain about except for what the future brings, right?
Yeah, they're just, now it's getting into the tougher stretch. I mean, and I'm looking at the schedule right now. It doesn't look as bad as, it was intended. There's really 2 really tough games left. And Cincinnati, who we just talked about, lost to the Houston Texans today because CJ Stroud is him. He's a dude. And the Houston Texans are going to be very happy that he was the one that was not drafted first overall and Bryce Young was. And that's a whole other situation like we watched on Thursday, if you guys watched the live stream with us. But yeah, you got the Chargers, who, again, the Chargers always play the Chiefs tough, but that's to the end of the season. Right out of the bye, you have Philadelphia, which is going to be their toughest game of the regular season. And then you get a couple Las Vegas and Green Bay, which should be wins for the Chiefs. As long as they don't overlook either of those teams, they should be in good position to win those football games. I'm very excited to see how they manage the Philadelphia Eagles on a Monday Night Football game on national television where there's nothing else going on. It's Chiefs, it's Eagles, and that's what it is, much like the Super Bowl in that sense. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how they're going to be preparing for that game this week.
Yeah, I agree. Dub Freak, thank you for your membership. Nice to see you. Miss Brenda, glad you made it. Good to see you as well. We'll get to a couple of your questions, folks. Super Chats get an answer every night. Want to give you a quick update because if if you've been trying to get into the action with our pals over at Underdog, we actually have some good news today. So cheers to you. If you want to get in it, just go to underdogfantasy.com and you can get in the action. Use our code. That always helps us, and we would appreciate that very much. But right now, let me share my screen because this might be the best position I've been in at 5 p.m. Central on this weekend, Dan. I don't know. Let's
see it.
Let's give it a look. Bring it in here. We nailed Christian McCaffrey. We were right on Christian Kirk, the only one who played anything worth for the Jaguars today. Got Austin Eckler, and it comes down to the quarterbacks in this game that you're watching right now. It's just Goff that's dragging us a little bit.
Yeah.
But we got the insurance on this one. So if we get Justin Herbert, that's all we need to do. We need, what do we need? We need not even a point. We need 0.65 of a point to make our.
He should get that.
He should. And I'm feeling pretty confident about that. And that's going to make us a little bit of money, honestly, make up for the last couple of weeks. But if Goff can catch fire a little bit, where are they? They are in the third period, right? Still, or did they go over?
7 minutes left in the third quarter. Yeah.
Okay. So, there's a chance.
The game script. The game script is good for them too. The Chargers just caught fire, scored a touchdown, tied the game. Their run game has been excellent against the Chargers today for a good reason. So I think we might get to see some play action passes coming up as long as the football stays going this way. There's going to be an opportunity for Jared Goff to be able to get you that 5 out of 5 there.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. So look for Justin Herbert to get us there. That will get us paid, but we're looking for the big payday if we can get Goff there as well. So you guys stay tuned. If you want to follow this, I tweeted it out earlier on Friday, but you never know. We're feeling a little crafty at this point. So get into the action over there on Underdog Fantasy with our code RGR if you want to get playing as well. Let's see here, Kevin. Well done on your pick of the day.
Awesome.
Cheers to you, buddy. Very impressive. I can't say I was prepared for that, but you called it.
It also never looked like it was a lock. I'll be very honest, Kevin. It was the last second of the game where they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go win." And yes, so you were right. You were right. But Locke is putting it very, very loosely, if I'm being honest. But congratulations to the Browns. And right now, the Chiefs have the best record in the AFC once again. As things continue to change, the more they stay the same. Am I right, guys? The Chiefs are top of the AFC right now. And yes, they have a couple of really tough games coming out of the bye to close the season. But that number 1 seed is right there with all the struggles, that quote unquote struggles that we've seen on offense and the wide receivers. The Chiefs are still right in position to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. And that has to make the team and all the fans kind of take a big breath of fresh air, like just a nice little, because that's going to give them some opportunity now out of the bye to fix some of the things that they've struggled with this season and play their best football down the stretch, which is all you can really ask for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. And as much as we want to complain about the little things on the offense, being in that position, being afforded the position to figure out what the hell you're doing on offense while you're leading the entire conference, that is a rare feat. So let's enjoy that. Good to see you, Justin. Thank you, buddy. Let's see here. KT, the bye week brought tears to your eyes. I get it. I mean, I would rather watch the Chiefs, but watching this kind of stuff happen, I'm okay with it. Baltimore now in conference, 2 full games behind the Chiefs. Jacksonville, Houston got in there. And so Cincy right now, and this, I'm just going to put it on the screen just for, giggles on my part in particular. But for those of you who haven't seen the standings yet, let me update you because this is what you like to see. Cincinnati's are not a playoff team right now. Not a playoff team at all.
Nope.
And I shouldn't have clicked on them because that's what you do.
They're last in their division. They're last.
Right?
They're dead last.
0-2 in the division, 1-4 in the conference. Now, don't get me wrong. They always play the Chiefs tough. They are coming for blood, and there's something about this matchup. But right now, they are out of this playoff scenario, and the Chiefs are the number 1 seed. There are better issues to complain about than where the Chiefs are right now at this point in the season.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Let's see. Let's get to Christo. How bad Watson and Williams are playing, can I justify letting Snead go? That's a fair question. I do think sophomore slump has bitten both of them, but I do think they still have upside. But it really doesn't come down to who the replacement is. It comes down to the contract. And that, in the end of the day, I think that's the only thing that makes this determination.
That's it. If he wants to stay in Kansas City, it's going to be up to him to make that happen. That's just the reality of it. Because right now, I believe he's playing very good football, and someone is going to throw a money bag at him because corner is one of the premier positions in football. And when you can get a guy who's, obviously this is a contract year for him, and he's playing probably his best football, and he's playing as an outside corner, and that is in demand in the NFL. Outside corners with physicality that will take it to teams and to offenses are in demand. So there's going to be somebody to throw it at him, and we'll see if he wants to stay in Kansas City. And because realistically, they can't pay him as much as someone's probably going to offer him. So that's what it will come down to.
Yeah. Agreed.
Also, Jared Goff just threw a touchdown pass.
Did he? Oh, let's go back and recheck in with our standings now. Folks, again, this is our pals over at Underdog Fantasy, and he's so close now. We need 5 more points from him. We need about,
all right, Jared.
We need 75 yards or another touchdown pass, and good Lord, we might make this yet, Daniel.
We might be cooking here. We got something on the stove. It's almost at the boil right now. We're simmering.
I love that you can watch it in front of you. I'm gonna have to put it on over my shoulder.
I got it right here.
Yeah, you're winning. You're winning the day, my friend. But yeah, hey, good for him. That helps a lot. Let me dial this down a little bit. There we go. That said, Gary, thank you for the comment. As they continue to drop, we're going to have a good time with it. But, how about those Chiefs is the right thing to say at this point, especially on a weekend. They didn't have to do anything. Now, that's not always the case. There are times that's going to get you in trouble as well. Yes. And I know you had another comment here. If you guys would support the channel by clicking the like and the sub. And if you want to throw a super chat, we'll make sure to cover your topic and give you credit for it. We very much appreciate that. But that's a ton tomorrow night as well. I do want to go out of my way to mention, and I'll probably clip this for the other channel to tell you the truth. Tonight's beer is Mega Melrose from Beechwood. Shout out to our friends in Huntington Beach, California, because they make some of the best IPAs in America, and this one is kicking. The standard Melrose is one of their staple IPAs. It's kind of a nice sessionable. It's not over the top. When they doubled them up, it's hitting on all cylinders right now. And you have one of my all-time favorites that's been cranked up as well.
I do. And you guys know that I'm a big Boulevard guy. Now that I live in Kansas City, we got a little Tank 7 working here with the Cranberry Tank 7. This is phenomenal. And I know there's a lot of Tank 7 fans out there. I love a little bit of fruit into my beer because I love sours and things like that. This takes it to that next level for me. And the alcohol content is still there. And this might be one of my new favorites. Like I could just keep sipping on these all night. So, and you guys send me one of those IPAs. I've become more of an IPA guy as I've gotten older and my taste buds have changed, but also Boulevard. I know you guys are watching, so why don't you hook us up here? Maybe Boulevard could be the new sponsor of the weekly In Harm's Way film room. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, hey. Sunday Night Live is available as well, so we're always looking for sponsors, and you know what? We like to push what we actually enjoy, so Boulevard gives us...
and I love it.
Jeremy, I know it's kind of weird. I try to throw that out. Sometimes I call my brother Jason, even though his name's Jake to the rest of the world. So that's always kind of fun. So we push that a little bit. Good to see you, Gary. Do you expect the Chiefs to continue the bye week dominance with a win over the Eagles? And I'm glad that you're pulling it around to it. I'm going to get to Dub Freak's questions here in a second, but I wanted to hit that one right off the top because that's the general spot where we're going. We're going to talk about it all week long. We're going to certainly hit it tomorrow. But this is the bottom line. This is a great time to play those Eagles. The Kelsey Bowl reunion thing is going to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, with all the film that was put out yesterday or last night or the night before, I don't know whether it was a Friday show or a Saturday show, but all the hubbub about Taylor actually changing her song lyrics to include Travis, it's going to overshadow the fact that this is like one of the best matchups in football since the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl. So enjoy that. My kids certainly, like, all of a sudden, I have one daughter that's a Chiefs fan, and she knows the whole roster. She's like, do you believe that this is happening? Well, now she's a Taylor fan as well. So she lost it. And I know the rest of the world is going to lose it, but let's just enjoy the fact that this is going to be a great game. And I think it's going to be a chess match. I can't say dominance. Yes, they usually come off the bye really well, but I think this is going to be a fairly tough one. And it's really, I think, the stepping stone, because the Eagles defense isn't as good as it has been. Certainly is not as good as it was last year, but it still is formidable. And so if you can get your act together against that, I think it's a springboard for the rest of the stretch run to the playoffs. How do you feel about it?
It has to be, honestly. This is typically the teams that give them trouble in the regular season are teams that they've beaten in the postseason, like the Bills, the Eagles. I mean, we're going to see if the Eagles have done that. But the Bengals have given them trouble in the regular season, and the Bills have in the past. So this is one of those games where, yeah, they're coming off of a bye, but they typically lose these games in the regular season against the better teams. And when it comes down to crunch time in the postseason is when they beat them. So this is getting into out of the bye week. They need to fix some of their wide receiver issues. Patrick needs to play a little bit better. Let's be very honest. The offense needs to click. So I think that while they're typically, if this was not out of the bye, I think that the Eagles might run away with this football game. It would be tough. They're going to play tough. They're going to play at highest levels they can, because they typically play teams, the good teams, really tough. They typically always do. But coming out of the bye, it adds another layer to it, because Andy Reid's going to have better play calls. The defense, which has been phenomenal, usually gets better after the bye. And let's be honest, Jalen Hurts still has some issues throwing the football, even more this year than he had last year. You think you can't confuse him? Absolutely, Steve Spagnuolo can confuse Jalen Hurts and can get to him. And he hasn't been running as much this season because he's gotten hurt a couple times now. The tush push is there, okay? But what this defense specializes in is forcing third and longs, okay? We have to remember that the Eagles view their drive as 1st and 9. Yeah. So the Chiefs have to view it as 4 down territory almost all the time. So I'm very excited to see the chess match, like you said, about them coming out of the bye, having some more things to attack, because the weakness of this defense is up the middle. My linebackers to the secondary. That's what, or to the safeties. That's where the weakness is. So I'm very, very excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm pumped, and I'm glad it's going to get the attention that it deserves. I really don't care. And I retweeted something somebody put out there, an old picture of the Kelsey brothers back from their Cincinnati days. Neither of them looking particularly svelte at the time, and to know that those guys are getting that much attention, let's enjoy the fact that all that people's sexiest guy, Jason Kelsey, a guy that's built like me. I mean, hey, let's live while we're living, right? To bring all that outside attention, right? All the outside attention that's getting, and obviously the Travis and Taylor Swift thing is getting, that's just bringing more to Chiefs Kingdom. And yes, there'll be bandwagon fans because they haven't been fans before, but you are going to gain fans. So enjoy that time as Chiefs Kingdom expands right now. And Rachel, nice to see you. Miss Holly, I think, was here for a moment. Brenda, nice to see you as well. I have an update, and I didn't mean to turn this into an entire stream about Underdog, but folks, congratulations, because we are in the money at this point. Thank you to Justin Herbert for sealing the deal. Now we just need Goff to come back and do the same thing. If we continue, we're going to make us a nice little payday. So I hope that you guys are enjoying that aspect. I know not everybody's into the daily fantasy sports thing, but if you are, this is certainly a lot of fun to do, and we appreciate Underdog for being our sponsor on this show. So that said, how does it go forward? What's the keys right now to getting the next step? It's solidifying. If you had to guess, Dan, who's the leading tackler on this roster? I don't know if you've looked at this recently.
I actually haven't looked at it, but I would guess the leading tackler is Trent McDuffie.
He is number 2. Well done. Oh. The leading tackler on this roster is Drew Tranquill.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but then I see all the behind the line scrimmage stuff that Trent McDuffie does, and I'm just like, I feel like it might be him. But yeah, that's a free agent signing, guys. Your leading tackler on defense is a free agent signing from last year. That speaks to what they've done. So I love that. That's fantastic.
So when you're frustrated about Brett Veach and the wide receiver reclamation projects, remember that there's another side of the coin as well. So that said, for me, it's about right now the second half of getting Nick Bolton back. So you're double strong in the middle and being able to withstand. Because when I look down the gullet, the only thing the Las Vegas Raiders can do right now is run the ball. They're going to have to come after him. Honestly, New England's offense is Mac Jones adjacent because he is an afterthought. They run, they run, they run. I still think I would take Bailey Zappi as the backup on this team tomorrow if I could, because they just won't use him in New England. I don't know if it's Bill O'Brien or if it's Bill Belichick. I don't know which Bill it is, but there's some going crazy out there. And then obviously you get to Cincinnati. They need to use Mixon. Buffalo Bills are the one exception of, I think, the tough games that are coming down the line that aren't really going to stress the Chiefs defense in the run in the middle. They may try to use Kincaid to attack Tranquil in the intermediate in between those hook zones. I don't know, but I don't feel like they're the one team that is going to really push him on the ground. Do you?
No, and the strength of the teams that they play is through the air, and funnily enough, that's the Chiefs' strength right now. I mean, the Eagles have an excellent run game, but this year it's been about their passing game. They've been able to still, AJ Brown has been he had a streak of 125 plus yards in like 6 straight games. It was just broken before their bye, but it's been about that connection this year. And the reemergence of DeAndre Swift has been also great for them. Their offensive line's gotten some injuries. Obviously, the bye week will give them an opportunity to heal up, but the tough games, like you said, are going to be about mitigating the quarterbacks to the wide receivers. And I expect the Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers to be healthy when they play. That was clearly a part of maybe T. Higgins not playing this week, trying to make sure that he's ready for the stretch down the ways. But also, Buffalo with Josh Allen has been fantastic and given the Chiefs problems. Even though Gabe Davis is not a very good receiver, he gives the Chiefs problems. Those, at least in the past, maybe not this year because they have not been allowing some deep shots down the field. So this might be a completely different game that we've seen in the past where the defense doesn't give up those big plays. And how does Josh Allen handle that? We saw opening week in some of the weeks that they have struggled where Josh Allen, when he can't get the ball down the field, he does struggle a little bit. And that might be where the Chiefs end up just being better this year. So I'm very excited to watch how these teams go on because they're going to have to run the ball more consistently because that's the one area right now where the Chiefs are still lacking a little bit. You can run the ball on them, and then you're going to have to figure out how to get rid of that play action pass stuff. But if you can get underneath them, stop those, get them into those third and long, much like they did against the Dolphins, they're cooking with gas, man.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just getting the game, the Chargers
and
Lions on my television here so I can pay some attention and at least hear it. Looks like Justin Herbert's going to seal that deal and get in the end zone. Again, they're down, on the 14-yard line or something like that. Dub Free Freer, again, welcome back to the memberships. Well, I think you've been in before, if I remember correctly. And folks, if you want to get in there, you get my game notes, you get Dan's rants, you get my rants, you get all the extras that we do, and you get discounts over on NFL 33, which our buddy Steve, who's in the chat, and Steve, I have some of yours coming up here. We got to talk about your eyes, pal. But Steve's a big supporter of NFL 33, and I think you guys will dig that as well. So if you want to get in on what looks like team building and draft prep, that's what NFL 33 is. But Dub Freak, I appreciate your question. Are the Texans a legit AFC contender? Also, if we beat the Eagles as our offense with our offensive woes, it'd be huge. The question is, who are the Texans beating? Until today, honestly, I would have told you that, yeah, they're good, but I wouldn't call them a contender. Does that change for you today after beating the Bengals?
It doesn't, and that's just because this was CJ. They are CJ Stroud, okay? They are CJ Stroud. Yeah. He's a fantastic quarterback, guys. He right now is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. As a rookie, he is a top 10 quarterback. This is no question about it. There's none. He is elevating without his number one receiver. He went and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. He did it. Okay, he did. This was not their defense bailing him out. They scored 27 points on that defense. This was CJ Stroud. He threw a pick, but he won that football game, throwing for 350 plus yards. This was not, and it was against Lou Anarumo, who has given a lot of quarterbacks difficulties, but not CJ Stroud.
Certainly does. And here's the thing: is he's taken Nico Collins and I'm sorry, Brown, and elevated him to a point that
Noah
no
Brown.
one saw coming. Not at either of us, certainly.
No, Noah Brown is not a one receiver. But look at him
No.
today; he was fantastic. Also, for all of you that
Tank.
follow me on Twitter, you know I have been a Tank Dell stan. He is a legitimate NFL wide receiver. He is a legitimate dude. What we're seeing right now is a shift in the wide receiver dynamic in the NFL. Smaller bodies, just good players can live and succeed and be legitimate guys in the NFL. And Tank Dell is another example now of how the wide receiver position is changing and how it should continue to change going forward, and evaluate the evaluations for said players also need to change, because I loved Tank Dell. I believe he had a second round grade on him. That's how good I thought he was. And this
I
is
thought
what
you
we're
were
seeing
crazy.
Right
now. and I happen to be like halfway on board with that. Like, especially for Andy Reid, he's always enjoyed smaller bodied receivers, right? I didn't have him near as high as you did. You were absolutely right. The only thing that I will say is because of his size, you get this kind of situation where it's 6 out of 14 targets, but he's producing when he catches the ball. Do you have to throw him a couple extra? Probably. That's okay, because there's going to be guys in Kansas City, they're going to look just like this. Sky Moore is one of them. There's a guy coming, and we're going to get into this, I'm sure, on 33. I'm going to do one of the NFL shows on one of the networks this next week, folks. I'll blast that out when it happens, but I'm going to be pumping up one dude from Washington that I seem to be the only one who is this high on, because he fits that kind of task. He's a smaller dude, but he gets the job done. And that is, I think you're absolutely right, the way that this NFL is going. And maybe that turns around. Maybe when you get out of the drop 8, maybe that changes. I don't know. But it certainly is the course that the NFL is taking right now. As to the Eagles part, it would be giant if they can get past the Eagles. I see this as one of the few potential losses in the Chiefs' second half. So if they can get that done, it sets up the rest of the run to the playoffs. I will tell you that. That is a momentum changer for this roster.
It absolutely is. And that's part of the problem that we've seen, is that they've been winning without their wide receivers functioning on all cylinders, and them having to continue to change out guys because they don't have the best matchups. But I think that after the bye, they're going to have some things figured out. And yes, it's going to be a little bumpy, I think, in the opening week after the bye, and should be expected. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to figure out how to do this thing and get it all sorted out. And this is a huge game against the Eagles, who are, I wouldn't even say that they're the best team in football, but they have the best record. Granted, who I thought was the best team in football lost today, so maybe they are. Maybe they are. I don't know, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I know that. I'm excited.
You never know, right? More nicotine gum. I understand where you're coming from, buddy. Is it realistic to expect 7 refs to eyeball 22 players plus the ball at every second? You're absolutely able to expect that. That's why they have that many eyes on the field. They have individual responsibilities, and it's about training them up. And quite frankly, I think you agree with me on this, Dan, but you tell me if not. This should be a full-time job. They need to spend more time training on this, more reps, just like anything else that we ever talk about on the football field. The refs are included. They need more time in this job.
I have been asking for going on 5 years, ever since I started doing this and started paying more attention to the NFL. They need to be full-time things. Having them, I have my Hulu account is still tied to my Omaha address. You guys remember Clete Blakeman, right? He was, I believe, I don't know if he still is an NFL official. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But he runs a law firm. Yeah. That was his primary job. That can't be the case. It can't be the case. These have to be their legitimate jobs. They have to be earning a lot of money doing this, because they impact games. Players impact games too. And you want to know how much money they make? A lot. These NFL officials need to be full-time positions. All their job is study the game year round. Study their jobs year round. Have that be the thing. This can't keep happening. It's a problem.
I completely agree with you, and that it's got to change soon, or we're going to see the quality of the game suffer.
Agreed.
There's just no way around it. Peyton, thank you, buddy. Draft question. Big Longhorns fan, and I don't know if there's anyone you like or seen from them in the 2024 draft. I think Jalen Ford and Sweat have great NFL potential. I don't know that I would think that Ford comes out. I have seen a couple of games, and I will tell you the guy that is my sleeper dude from there. But I'll tell you off the top, if you guys haven't seen NFL 33 lately, right now I have who the quarterbacks are, the top guys that in terms of performance. Now, we always separate. It's a triangle for us at Rogue Analytics. There's the film grade, there's the athleticism grade, and then there's the production grade. And they are weighted differently, and that's the secret recipe that I'd never give away. But they are a triangle. It's just not equilateral. You know what I mean? Like it's squished in a certain direction. But on that list, if you guys go and sub up to NFL 33, you'll see who the top guys are. Quinn Ewers is not among them. Quinn Ewers needs to go back. And in my opinion, I think Worthy needs to go back. And I think they need time together myself. There is something that is X plus X equals more than X plus X. You know what I mean? Like you need that time together. The guy that stands out to me is not a one wide receiver. Is there anyone that stands out to you?
So I'm an Xavier Worthy fan. I like Worthy quite a bit. There's a lot of steam right now on Adonai Mitchell, and I am not with that steam. I don't think he's a first-round caliber player. And there's a lot of right now. I've seen a lot of mock drafts. I've seen a lot of people that are saying that he's a first-round player. I don't see it. I don't believe that he is. And the one thing, like if you put both of these players next to each other, what does Adonai Mitchell do that it's an elite thing? There isn't anything that he does that is elite. What is one thing that Xavier Worthy does that it's elite? Acceleration. He is the fastest 0 to 60 player in this draft class. I would put my money on it right now. It's him, and then it's Malik Neighbors. Those are the 1 and 2, in my opinion, and the fastest players. But Worthy comes with better route running chops than a McCole Hardman did coming out of Georgia. So I'm a big Worthy fan. I think that he can be kind of like what Tank Dell is. I think he can offer a lot of what he's doing right now with Houston in the NFL. So I see Worthy as an end of the first round wide receiver that you can draft. I don't think Adonai Mitchell is. Probably have a middle grade 2, probably not a top 50 player for me.
And I think you're absolutely right. I will say this too. Worthy has, I think, elite college and starter level NFL capability in tracking the ball over his head.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
That is a skill that I think is in dire need right now. And you can ask no one else but McCole Hardman for those of you who got really fired up about that ball, or Sky Moore in the one in the end zone. It's tracking that is it's a rare commodity, to tell you the truth. And I think that the more that you look at it, the more you have to say it is a specific skill set. In the West Coast offense, it's not as highly emphasized as it is in some vertical offenses. So you do have to take that with a grain of salt. But I do think that the more you look at it, that is a skill that you have to have.
Absolutely. And watch Rome Odunze out of Washington's game from yesterday, if you guys want to know what ball tracking is. Late separation. I tweeted this out after it happened. Late separation is all about ball tracking. If you can track that ball early, guess what? You are going to late separate almost every single time from a corner that is close to you. Almost every time. Because what he does, they're doing that hand fight and stuff, and what he's doing is saying, okay, that ball's going behind me. Guess what? The cornerback doesn't know where the ball's going. So I can continue to accelerate while he's slowing down because we're close to each other. That kind of stuff is NFL talent. It's NFL caliber. That is why ball tracking, like Ryan's talking about, is so important, because if you can make those seconds between you and the football coming down more important to you than the cornerback, you're going to win those matchups. Yes, and that's exactly what Rome Odunze did.
And it's big, giant chunk plays. It doesn't have to be for scores. It's chunk plays. And I'll tell you, you guys have heard me mention him a couple of times before. I love the fact that Odunze is playing as well as he does, because for the Kansas City Chiefs, that means Jalen Polk's going to fall a little bit farther. And Polk is nearly as good where it counts in the Chiefs' offense, because they're not going to throw him bombs. He needs to hit those breakers. He needs to hit those digs. That's the guy that you should be watching when you watch Washington football. And if you have YouTube TV and the actual aspects is you can set up all those teams to record. I have every football game recorded and saved onto my drive, and I get to see everything all the time. And that's what you guys want to do if you're that into it. Hi, Matthew. I wanted to say hi. And before we get off of the Texas question, I want your opinion, Dan, because the guy that I think is sneaky quality that is coming out because he is a senior is Jordan Whitney. And I think he's a guy that's going to be a chain mover in the NFL.
I haven't watched him.
No? Okay.
I haven't watched it.
Next time. Fair enough. All right. Well, I set that up as good as I could, and I guess I screwed that up.
Sorry, guys. I won't give you an opinion of somebody that I haven't actually watched. So I try not to set myself up for poor, takes being made if I haven't watched them.
Hey, that's smart. So, Peyton, thank you. Sweat, I'll have to take a deeper look at it as well myself, but you never know. Dub Freak, back to you. Do you think that we can keep Dana? The man's been balling out. He certainly has. He is in a draft year, and I as good as he's been playing, I don't know that he's going to get a gigantic offer. Do you think I'm crazy?
No, I don't think so. And when we look at his numbers in terms of what he's done this year, it's been very good. But his winning percentage in terms like the quick winning is again it's still low, and he's not really winning in a ton of different ways. So he's a dude in this defense. I think they're going to still be able to get him relatively cheap because he shouldn't command a ton on the open market. He's a rotational defensive end. That's what he is. So I do think that there's going to be a good chance he stays in Kansas City going forward.
Okay. I like it. Tom, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Good to see you. Good day today with Burrow heads and the East Coast Thugs losing. And we look forward to the Arrowhead Invitational once again, all the way to the Super Bowl. And that's the question is, can you maintain your lead? Because you have it right now. And again, because of all the hubbub about the Chiefs wide receivers, what they're doing and what they aren't, we're losing track of the site that the Chiefs are in the lead for the AFC. So the question is going to be, in particular, I think the North is softer than I thought it was, Dan. So it doesn't make me feel like the Baltimore Ravens are going to have a whole lot to overcome. Do you think that there's someone that can rise up against them?
I mean, I would say Cleveland. I think Cleveland has the best shot to do so. Pittsburgh's fake. Pittsburgh is so fake. Yeah. They are the fakest 6-3 team I think I may have ever seen in my life. Cleveland's defense is legit. And even if Deshaun Watson isn't the player that he was in Houston, which I don't think he ever will be, by the way, ever again. If he is a game manager, that team is dangerous. It's dangerous, even with their injuries. They showed today that they're still dangerous. They came back and beat Baltimore. And that's, I think, the more important thing is that defense is good enough. They're legitimately dangerous for that division. But like I said, Pittsburgh doesn't scare me. Cincinnati right now, I wouldn't say really scares me all that much. Their defense.
This is the most shocking thing I've seen in a long time. Right here.
Yeah.
Outside of the playoff picture.
Cincinnati looking in. Outside looking in, guys. I don't think that's how that's going to stay the rest of the season because, again, I think Houston is not a contender right now. I do think that they might be a playoff team, though. I really think that they could be a playoff team. They're not a bad football team by any stretch. So that's going to be fun to see how that plays out. But I think at the end of the day, Cincinnati, Buffalo are going to find their way back into the postseason. And the North, like you said, is not as strong as I thought it was early in the season, specifically because Pittsburgh is absolutely fake. And, Jared Goff, I think he just did it. I think he just did it.
I'm on delay. Holy crap, we just won.
We just got it. We just did it.
We're going to go back to it, folks. We're going to double check. We're already in the money, but Jared Goff has got us paid. 5 out of 5. And RGR is off the snide right now.
That is a hell of a win, Ryan. We talked that out on Friday, by the way, guys. That was our Friday underdog picks right there. And we talked it out and we figured it out. So that is a fantastic win. Woo!
Well done, Daniel. And by the way, folks, we don't preconceive these. We talk this out in front of you on our live stream on Fridays, so you know the process that goes on as we talk it out. And it's nice to see it pay off. We've been very, very close all season where we didn't do the insurance thing, so we missed one and we were out. But now we are squarely in the money. That's a $500 payday for us.
Woo!
Well done, Daniel.
That's awesome.
Let's just take a second to marinate on that.
I mean,
not like Justin
honestly,
is, but
no, that was I understand why people do it more often. Like that sweat was fun. Like sweating that out was a lot of fun, especially because, you know, we did talk about how the game plan for this Chargers and Lions game should feed into them putting up points. And it absolutely did. So, and I remember you didn't want to go on the Christian McCaffrey thing, but I was like, you better go on the Christian McCaffrey thing. But this is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Well, and let's be real. He made it by 0.95 of a point. So, like, I was justified in being a little concerned. But
you were. You got it, though. You got it.
We got it. Well done. So, folks, for those of you wanting in the action, Underdog Fantasy, go there and use the code RGR. You can get a $100 match on yours, and you can get the money like us. So, appreciate you. Justin, I know that there's going to be some ads on here. YouTube's kind of traded their stuff out a little bit where I don't get to put them in post. They run them as we go. So, I will just say thank you for all of you that are seeing ads. That's keeping the lights on for Dan and I so that we can keep doing it. So, appreciate you. Congrats, guys. I was there for the pick'ems. Rock and roll. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And hey, your comments are always on screen, Justin. Come on, you're one of our most popular commenters. You're always going to be there, buddy. Gary, good to see you too, bud. Do you expect the Chiefs to continue the bye week down? Oh, we already hit this one. I must have not have removed it as I thought so. So Dogs Flava, even though we're on the bye and all the talk about the receiving core in the Kansas City Chiefs, your thoughts on running the ball more to open up the passing game. Much love to the channel. Thank you, Dogs. You are channeling from inside my brain. This is what you're doing. I would always run the ball more. I don't care if you're running 50%. I would always run it one more time to open up the play action pass. It's my favorite aspect of the game.
That, and it helps get their RPO game a little bit more life to it because they still run RPOs. They're just not as effective as they used to be. Let's be honest. When they started doing RPOs and Patrick was first, second, third year starter, they were gashing teams with them, but now they just drop linebackers in there. If they're dropping linebackers, guess what you should be able to do? Run the ball a little bit more. But this year, the run game has not been as efficient. So we were talking a little bit on Friday about how getting back to this end of the season stretch here, the last 8 games of the season or 9 games of the season, however many they have left, it's important to get back to that efficiency. You don't need to run the ball a ton. This doesn't have to be a Baltimore Ravens offense. You need to be efficient when you do so, to make those linebackers have to think a little harder about what's coming their way, whether it's going to be the run, whether it's going to be a play action pass, whether it's going to be an RPO. You have to make them think, because if they can just sit back in their coverage and not worry about it, it makes the whole thing more difficult on the offense.
It certainly does. Steve, what kind of receivers will we look for in the upcoming draft and free agency? I'd love to tell you that they're going to go the big body, like squared up and catch it kind of guys. They're not. They're just not. If they want to do that, then go to Mike Evans in free agency. They'll overpay, but they seem to be comfortable with that. They're going to go for the guys that can play all 3 positions. They can track over their head because they know they want the shots with Patrick, but can run a full route tree. That's the number one thing for me, Dan. I don't know how you feel, but pairing a wide receiver to the Chiefs, it's about running a full route tree.
I think maybe the last couple of draft cycles are going to stick in their head. Because unless Rashee Rice all of a sudden next year becomes an outside guy who runs a full route tree, he's a power slot in this offense. Like, that's what he is. And the dynamicism that they need is on the outside, a player who can run a full route tree but have the athletic ability to win downfield with speed, but also with his routes. They don't have that, and they haven't drafted that since Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill was a fluke. Let's be honest. A 5th round pick. It was maybe the greatest athlete to ever play the wide receiver position. It was a fluke. You don't get that all the time. So they need to be, in my opinion, they need to evaluate wide receivers better because they haven't done a very good job of it. Going back to, when's the last time they drafted, outside of Tyreek Hill, when's the last time that they drafted a good wide receiver? We're talking decade plus since they've drafted a good wide receiver and then developed them. They haven't been able to do it. So I like Sky more because I think that he could be a slot, but they have Rashee Rice, who's their power slot. And then there's a lot of things that go on to this. So what kind of receiver will they look for? I'm hoping that they're going to be looking for an actual guy, a dude, a one that can win multiple different ways. That can win multiple different ways. If you're going to succeed in the NFL, you have to have two ways to win. Otherwise, they can make you play with your hand tied behind your back. And guess what? You don't have that anymore. They need a guy who can win two ways. I'm hoping this draft cycle, they put their pride aside and understand that they got to find somebody that has the consistency to develop into a player that can win with two ways. Maybe Rashee Rice is that guy. We'll wait and find out, because right now he's a zone beater. That's what he is.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are using him as, and that's great. It's great.
No, and that's also dependent on what they're getting, because they're getting a ton of zone. So the opportunity to grow is based on what you have to fight against. So when I think they can get defenses out of the zone and get manned up a little bit more, I hope that we see some progress in that aspect of his game.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just I'm not going to put all of the blame on their wide receiver coach. I'm not going to put all of it there, but I think there's some blame to be put there. Guy who has not been a wide receiver and not coached wide receivers until this year.
Okay. I do not argue with you. And there's a significant connection there. I have to tell you, I think overall it's a little bit interesting that everyone named Embry isn't in Washington with Eric Bieniemy, because that was my expectation. So
yeah,
one way or the other, what are you going to do? So Steve, though the kind of receivers, it's going to be all of them. They're going to scout everything. I think they're gonna lead away from the power types myself. That's just my thought. And on this note, given what we were talking about with Travis and Jason Kelsey and that image that I put out on Twitter, we have to talk about your eyesight, my friend. You got to have those glasses checked, because RGR people are not the sexiest people. I mean, Mrs. Harms might disagree with at least half of us here, but the rest of us, not so much. So, brother, I appreciate you, but no.
I do appreciate it, but it's not like I'm getting walked up to on the street every day. This doesn't happen. Like, yes, my wife is going to be 100% agreeing with you in that, but I mean, look,
Mrs. RGR is not swatting away the flies. I'll just tell you that. Rob, thank you for pointing this out. And we mentioned just for a second, but can we talk about CJ Stroud icing the Bengals? It's not just that he's outplaying both of our expectations. We both had him number 2, did we not?
Yes, we did. And again, like I went back and forth with both of him and Bryce Young. They were very, like, we're talking millimeters difference in my grades on them. Like, I did not, if you want to take him first, fine. No, I got no qualms about it, guys.
Sure.
And the situations were also vastly different. Vastly different. Do I think that CJ Stroud would have been successful in Carolina? I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I'm not blaming the QB on either of those.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. So yeah, it's
for those of you that remember how I railed that CJ Stroud was dramatically better than Will Levis. Will Levis fell back to earth today, and that
the
is
last
one
2
of the
games.
that I got to see.
The last two games.
Yeah, 50% completion rating through an interception and no touchdowns. Didn't break 200 yards. I mean, Will Levis is exactly what we thought he was. He just got lucky for a day. Stroud is, I think, outplaying my expectation for a rookie year, but he's certainly not outplaying what his ceiling always was.
Correct. And the big question between CJ Stroud when I watched him was, can he be the guy that played against Georgia?
Yeah, exactly.
Consistently, because Ohio State never asked him to be that before that game. And he also struggled with it in big games against Michigan. Okay. He was,
funny you mentioned that.
He was consistently, no, it's fine. Like, he was consistently struggling with that aspect against Michigan 2 years in a row, where they pressured him and they made it be on his shoulders, and he fell up short of that. But then he played against Georgia, and they should have won that game. They should have beaten Georgia in the semifinal.
Yep.
And CJ Stroud, that was the best performance I think I've ever seen from a quarterback in a moment like that. It was incredible what he was doing. And he was making Jalen Carter, who is dominating the NFL. He's dominating the NFL. He made him miss multiple times with little tiny movements outside the pocket. And what we're seeing right now is CJ Stroud. They can't run the football. I mean, they ran the ball today. They ran it for 150 yards. But typically, they can't run the football. And teams know it. And it didn't matter because CJ Stroud, his ball placement down the field is so good that it didn't matter.
His natural accuracy was his biggest strength coming out, and it's only been amplified here.
So good, man. He's so good.
I will tell you this too. I'm glad that you bring it up because my guy who is number 3 on my depth chart right now for the 2024 draft at the quarterback position is Michael Penix of Washington. And they did something specifically to show it. Did he take a sack where he was like, you know what, I'm screwed, I'm just going to lay down? And he took a knee, basically, did a slide 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage? Yes. Yeah. But they also got him out on a QB boot for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because just like Stroud isn't using his legs in the NFL. But he proved to you that he could if he had to. And that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. You got to be able to move a little bit. And CJ Stroud, if he had another game like he did against Georgia, I think everybody would have had him as QB1. I think everybody would have. They had questions, and I understand the questions. I had them too. But right now we're seeing him actually be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL as a rookie, and it's insane. It's insane.
I'll just pour one out for Dameon Pierce, my boy in Houston.
I'm going to pour one out for myself. I had Jahan Dotson as a must start, and he has 0 points on 1 target. So we're having a bad day. We're having a bad day.
You know where we're not having a bad day, though? Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah. Underdog Fantasy.
We're doing it.
Use code RGR.
Yeah. Thank you. Travis, who was more surprising this year between the Bengals and Bills in terms of record? What teams other than those two should we be more scared of in the playoffs? No offense. The fact that they're underachieving does not make me more scared of someone else. They are still the 2 most scary teams left on the Chiefs roster after the Eagles, in my opinion. But they are screwing up. But it's more, I think, shooting themselves in the foot. Certainly the Joe Burrow injury was there. Joe played fine today. They lost in spite of a decent performance from Joe Burrow. I don't think it was because of him today.
No, I agree. I think Joe Burrow is the reason I would say that the Bengals right now are the one that I think can beat them more consistently in the postseason. I think that Joe Burrow's play is outstanding, and he's been fantastic this season. And without T. Higgins and with a hurt Jamar Chase, he took a very good, in my opinion, Houston Texans team that's playing on a high right now, and took them to 27-27, and they were able to do that. But Joe Burrow's a better big game quarterback than Josh Allen is right now. I will say that. And tomorrow, in the next 5 games, Josh Allen will say that will prove that he's better right now. That's just how this works. That's just how it works. But in games that matter, in the AFC Championship games, in my opinion, he's outplayed Josh Allen. Joe Burrow has. So I would say in the postseason, Joe Burrow gives me more pause as a team to beat than Josh Allen does.
I'm with you. I mean, right now, Jacksonville looks like they don't know who they are. Obviously, you just beat Miami by taking your foot off the pedal the entire second half. Pittsburgh's a paper tiger. Cleveland has defense, but like you said, I don't think you can rely on them to score points. Obviously, the opposite is true with Stroud, as we've been talking about in Houston. So it really comes down to the Chiefs and the Ravens right now in the AFC. That's it.
Yep.
Until the Bills and Bengals figure themselves out and get themselves higher in the standings, could they beat the Chiefs? Yes. Both of them could because they played them tough. But come playoffs, will they even be there? That's going to be the big question.
Yep. I'm very excited to watch it.
I got to say I am too. Joe, good question. Will Kelsey be ready to play the Eagles? I do think that he will. I'm sure that he's just about home if he's not home already. I believe that concert was Saturday night. And Argentina is what? It's only like a time zone off of Central Time, right?
I think so. I don't think it's
Yeah,
that far off. Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of jet lag or anything. It's just about getting home, getting to bed, getting back
And
on the horse.
Travis Kelce has said that he doesn't suffer from jet lag. Like, he said it multiple times, and I don't think he suffered from jet lag in his last game either. They just put 3 guys on him almost every play, and he just couldn't get open.
It happens. Kadarius Toney matches up well against the Eagles. Our receivers will have some breakout games. I hope so, Gary. The question is, how many opportunities are you going to give Kadarius Toney? I've been talking about this for 3 weeks now, and Andy's not listening yet. So, Coach, call me if you want to talk. It's time. Just let him loose.
And I understand that I said pick 3 wide receivers and give them the majority of the snaps. I may have not been specific enough. Don't put 2 of the exact same type of players out there and give them the majority of your snaps. It makes your offense too predictable, okay? It does. So with that being said, Justin Watson and MVS can't be 2 guys that play the majority of your snaps. If they are, guess what? You have a big problem at wide receiver, and they legitimately might have a big problem at wide receiver.
I'm here. Brent, so Burrow needs all 3 of his all-stars to look elite. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's where I think people underestimate Patrick Mahomes, because right now he doesn't have any all-stars. He has Travis. He has no all-star. He has no even Pro Bowl wide receivers. And he hasn't since Tyreek left. Yet he's able to manufacture the offense. And I think that's the difference. It's a little bit more workmanlike. And Brent, I'm just going to address this now since we had the college quarterbacks discussion for a second. It's not necessarily just about the deep ball accuracy. It is good, but honestly, when you're throwing a Rome Odunze, he makes up for some of that as well. It's about the fact that the arm is super strong. He makes calculated decisions. He surveys the field. He does not make stupid mistakes. He had a string in the middle of the season where he threw a couple extra interceptions. 2 of those were tipped. And so the stats don't slant you away from what he really is. This is the bottom line. He's not terribly mobile in the pocket. He's a little statuesque. And honestly, he has a strange delivery. He's a lefty, and he is a compact, not open throwing motion, and it's going to throw a lot of teams off.
I'm more of the opinion that if you force him to be a within structure quarterback in terms of not throwing the ball down the field, I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there. I don't think you can make him read out plays right now. I'm only going to have 2 first-round grades on quarterbacks. I'm not going to have any more than 2, because I don't think that any of the quarterbacks behind Drake May and Caleb Williams are first-round players. Now, they get the QB bump because teams need quarterbacks. They're going to get the quarterback bump on my board, on my big board. But in terms of actual grade, I will not have right now first-round grades. When we get into the film and stuff like that, that could change. But I don't foresee it changing to the point where I have 3 quarterbacks with first-round grades before the quarterback bump.
Just on the film grade. I'm with you, because we do need to incorporate that bump. And I can't necessarily argue. I would probably put Bo Nix and Penix as top 50, but not top 32 picks, just based on film.
Yeah, and I'm going to have it could be a little biased. We'll see when I get into the film, but I'm going to have JJ McCarthy very close with those 2.
Yeah.
I think his mobility inside and outside the pocket levitates him up into that regard.
We're definitely going to go back and forth on that, because I would say he's clearly behind both of those guys. I think there are separate tiers here.
You also have 2. Let's be clear. You have 2 quarterbacks in pass-happy offenses.
Yes.
If JJ McCarthy was in an offense where you could throw the ball like them, we'd be talking about him a little bit differently, in my opinion.
That's where I'm not sure. Like, I get where you're going, and I see that sometimes, particularly this last week. I don't know if I see that. So I don't know. It's going to be a great conversation in the offseason.
They ran the ball 30 straight times. Where did he have the opportunity to do anything? Like, it's not his fault. He's not calling the plays.
And that's a legitimate argument. And my rebuttal will be that doesn't allow him to get prepared for the NFL either.
No, it doesn't. You're not wrong. I think what Michigan's doing is a detriment to him. Like, it's not. It does not help him. And if he was somewhere else for the last 2 seasons, he probably looks a hell of a lot different than he does playing at Michigan. But I think that the upside there is is bigger than Bo Nix and Michael Penix. I think we've seen pretty much what they're going to be in the NFL, but I could be wrong.
No. I agree with you there. He definitely has the higher upside of any of those top 5. And I would put him in the top 5. I have him as 5 right now. But in terms of what he's asked to do versus what he can, I agree with you. I think he has the most room to grow.
Absolutely.
Cole, will Daniel Hinshaw of Kansas or his teammate Devin Neal be good fits in the backfield next year as backups, obviously, after we don't give CH a new deal? Absolutely, yes, and yes. Neal in particular is a guy that can do a little bit of everything. I like Hinshaw. Don't get me wrong. I think the Chiefs will like Neal a little bit more. Hometown kid, the whole 9 yards. I don't think either of them are going to get drafted, I got to tell you. So it's going to be my favorite kind of UDFA, come on the roster and make some noise. And Dan, I saw that it's there. Not going to even look at it.
No, just take a glance and you'll see what it says. It's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. When is Bolton coming back? Justin, we don't have an exact date. I think it could be soon, though. We'll see if we can update from Andy, I think, on Wednesday. I don't think he's going to do it on Monday, but we'll find out from the guys. Today was a good day, Kurt. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you, buddy. I've been hearing this is a stacked QB class, but May and Williams are the only first caliber. And that's kind of how we see it as well. There will be that artificial push. I think 4, maybe 5 will go in the first round. They will be artificially elevated to that round myself, but the demand is there. Here's the bottom line. There's going to be a playoff team that gets a good next quarterback to develop, much like the Chiefs did when they brought Mahomes in underneath Alex Smith.
Yeah. Wouldn't be shocked to see the San Francisco 49ers drafting a first-round quarterback next year. Personally, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest because, let's be honest, Brock Purdy's already ceiling quarterback. He's doing what he's going to do the rest of his career. He's not getting any better. Yeah.
And let's be real. The Niners are about, 2.5 hours from Eugene? Yeah. They're going to be looking at Bo Nix pretty hard. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And I know a couple of people around that organization. They're going to be in it. Zach, do you guys see DiCaprio Boodle has been playing for the Panthers? He locked up DJ Moore on Thursday. I did not see that. And
yeah, he played pretty well against DJ Moore.
What's that?
He played pretty well against DJ Moore. He had a snap down the field where he just shut him down. He couldn't do anything. So he's playing pretty well for the Panthers right now in that defense, but they've also needed him too. Like they've had to have guys step up. CJ Henderson was hurt and Boodle had to take up there. So he did a good job.
Good for him. I'm glad to see it. It just goes to show you that, as good as this is, the Chiefs have depth, and it's hard to break into the starting lineup against this group of guys that were ahead of him. So good for him. I'm glad to see it. Tom, at 5'9", what are your thoughts on Cody Schrady? A few Heisman rumors rolling around. I've heard of Burden. I know he plays at Mizzou. I don't know what his season has been. I just know that
I'll be honest. He's their running back, I believe, played at a Division 2 or 3 school and then walked on in Missouri. Had a big game for them this week. I think it's a good story, Tom. Yeah, it's Schrader. Yeah, I think it's a good story, Tom. I think it's a great story. And I think that's about where it stops.
Okay.
I'm not trying to just put a bunch of cold water on the Mizzou fans. I know it was a great game that he had against Kentucky. Kentucky's extremely overrated in my mind. And it's going to be a good story. But right now, I don't think that there's a ton of difference-making ability from him personally.
Miss Holly, thank you for pointing that out. Sometimes I just, that's the best that I can do.
I don't think it was you. I think it was somebody else was in here. Oh, it was Gary. Okay. I see the comment. Do you see it?
No, I do not. I'm obviously far.
I'll star it for you so you can see it.
Okay, sweet. That's awesome. Holly, glad you made it and appreciate that. Love the picture, by the way. I know it's not Tommy, but I love to see a big stein of beer in your hand. So well done.
Loving it.
Well, porno quite. Yeah. Porno, you got to be careful with that, brother. It changes the whole concept super quick. That's awesome. How crazy that both Cincinnati and Buffalo are both currently outside the playoff picture. And if both miss, how much does it make our road easier? It makes it easier because they have so much history, but it's not drastic. There still means that there's better teams ahead of them that are in. So Ravens look formidable. Let's be real. You've dealt with a lot of the others, but anybody could. Like, here's what's going to be really interesting. Nobody's had a rookie season like CJ Stroud in a long time. What if they make it? If they're the 7th seed and the Chiefs get the bye, they could see them if they knock somebody off. So it's a possibility.
It is, and I'll be honest, welcome it. Steve Spagnuolo versus a rookie quarterback in the postseason, I welcome it. CJ Stroud's fantastic. Steve Spagnuolo will be licking his chops all by week.
I am so here for it. Ryan and Dan, I know this is not a Chiefs question. What do you think of Mizzou beating Tennessee? Good for them.
Tennessee, not Kentucky. That's right. It was Tennessee. My bad. I still think Tennessee's overrated.
Joe Milton is a non-draftable quarterback in my mind. I'll just tell you that. I think Brady Cook is better. So I think it's indicative of where the programs are. So good for them. Enjoy it. Burden, I was skeptical on. I have come around on him a little bit. I do want to see some confirmation on things in terms of the draft stock. But in terms of just getting the program moving, good for them. And I'm happy to see it and happy for all you Tiger fans. So if the Jayhawks can make a bowl and you all make a bowl, like, I'm going to be happy as a clam if everybody makes bowls. Boomer Sooners, sorry. Bengals and Ravens fall. Any of the Bengals receivers free agents next season that you would target? Higgins and Boyd are free agents next year. I just can't pay for either of them.
Oh, my goodness.
What'd I miss?
Well, the Lions walked off against the Chargers. Okay.
Oh, they already shifted games on me. I didn't even see it.
And the Cardinals, they won. The Lions beat the Chargers by 41-38. And the Cardinals, led by Kyler Murray, won after being down, 23-22, and they got him a field goal on 3rd and 10, ran for 20 yards. Kyler Murray won him the football game.
Oh my God. I saw that Dez went back in after they started Heineke. So I don't know what any of that means.
I picked the Cardinals to upset the Falcons, by the way, in my picks this week, guys. Let's go.
One. See, you're alone, Dirty. Most people are absolutely opposed to you, but I look at it this way. Whatever helps Trav feel young again, he's 34 years old. He's an old man in this league. If Taylor lifts him up a little bit, I'm sold on it. Let's do it.
I don't care if she shows up or not. Honestly, if she shows up, fantastic. That's great. Travis will ball out probably. He'll just ball out. Whatever he does, it's on him, okay? Taylor doesn't impact what he does. The fact that the Chargers ignored him for an entire first half is why he balled out against the Chargers. It wasn't because Taylor was there. It's because they ignored him for an entire half of football, okay?
But all I'm saying is, they get to the Super Bowl, she better put her tour on hold. I'm just saying.
Every game. Postseason, every single game. I expect Taylor Swift to be in every single game if they have the home field advantage.
Even All-Stars need a little motivation. I hope that you guys don't. Clearly, you're here, so you didn't. So it's been nice to hang out with you guys. I hope you had a good Sunday. It's Eagles week. We're going to get ready for the Kelsey matchup. We appreciate all of your time. We have the Q&A tomorrow night. We'll answer all the questions, detailed as always. Of course, Brett just threw one in to make sure that I feel guilty, so we'll answer that real quick on our way out. But thank you for spending the time with us on a Sunday when the Chiefs didn't play. So we very much appreciate it. If you want in on fantasy, obviously we showed you that you can get some stuff done. So check out Underdog Fantasy with the code RGR. Kind of hoping. Oh wait, no, I got to hit the actual question, not just the comment. And I didn't get to Ponos either. Oh, no, we did show it. Okay, good. I feel better.
Yeah, we did.
Where to go? Brett. Mahomes is great at self-scouting. Do you hope that he knows the bye week that he can address the rest of the season? I hope so. And again, I will just put it this way. Be a race car. Get the ball out fast. Just slice up every defense until they adjust to what you want. There will be opportunities to go deep like he wants to.
I think it's getting to the backside of plays. When he's holding the ball, as long as he doesn't get to the backside almost ever. Like, it just doesn't end up happening. So I think one of the biggest things he's got to look at is saying, I'm holding the ball this long. I have time. Get to the backside. There's routes being run on the backside of plays.
Yeah.
Get back there. If you start hitting backside digs, you're going to force defenses to have to adjust how they play, but they're not hitting those right now. So get to the backside of plays, hit one of them every now and then, make a defense respect that you're going to do a full field read, not just a half read.
Yeah, keep them on their toes. It's what the bottom line comes down to. Holly, thank you. You summed it up super well. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Everyone have a great Sunday night, and we'll be back with you in about 23 hours. We'll see you tomorrow for the Q&A. Have a good one. Dan, good night to you and to the family. Appreciate you being here, as always.
Always, guys.
Cheers, everyone. Happy Monday.